Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's weekly live immigration attorney chat here at Immigration for Couples. I'm excited to be with all of you. We had so many people join us live last time. I wasn't able to get through everyone's questions, but I will do my best to get through all of your questions here today. And just before we dive in, I do want to let everyone know about our free resource center and really who we are here at Immigration for Couples and our mission in the world. My firm, Immigration for Couples, is dedicated exclusively to helping couples across the nation and across the world and navigating the U.S. immigration process. And we know that going through your immigration journey, it feels like navigating a labyrinth. And that is why we created, my team and I, with lots of love, care, and consideration for all of you, we created a free resource center. This free resource center is very robust. It's at immigrationforcouples.com. And we have a live or a webinar that I created that I go into all of the different options that are available to couples and how to prove your relationship and not only survive the immigration process, but thrive. And we have one of our most popular resources, one of the most very popular is our free resource on proving your relationship. Proving your relationship is real. All right. And I do have some topics here today that I would like to go over because I have found here over the past few weeks specifically, it's always a popular question to ask, what are current wait times for fiance, spouse visa, and adjustment of status? And because I seem to get those questions, I thought it would be a great idea for us to dive into what do wait times look like in those three case types so you can all have clarity and it might answer some of the questions that you brought here today. And if you are watching this on the replay, if you weren't able to join us live, please do a hashtag replay and let me know what are your questions and where are you at in your immigration journey. And so for those of you who are joining live, I can already see that I have a lot of individuals who know the drill that are telling me, where they're at in the world. So I love to ask that too. Where are you currently located in the world? And where are you at in your immigration journey? So throw those in the comments. Good morning, Ginger. I know you're in the UK. Love the teapot. It's great to have you with us. Okay. And keep throwing your questions in the chat. I am streaming this live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. If you're not already following our YouTube channel, please do so. Follow our Facebook, on all social media outlets, LinkedIn and Instagram, so you're notified when our next live chat is. I host these every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. All right, I have some great questions coming in here, and I will get to those after I go over these topics that I have lined up for today. So let's start with spouse visa wait times. So 2025 spouse visa wait times. And please know we are here in February of 2025. And these are the wait times right now that we're seeing. Immigration wait times are fluid. I always prepare my clients I tell them you're going to feel like you're riding a roller coaster a little bit. Wait times will continue to go up and then sometimes they will drop off and reduce in time, which is always great, right? And so I say that to preface with, I'm giving these wait times, what we're seeing, these estimates here in February of 2025 for spouse visas. And again, if you're not joining us here on the live session, please do follow our social media channels, YouTube, Facebook, so you're notified when we have our next live event and you can ask me your questions on our live event. So what are 2025 spouse visa wait times? When we're talking about wait times for the spouse visa process, it's important to understand that the spouse visa really has three separate parts and three different entities, immigration entities that are going to be making decisions on various parts of the case. And so when you receive wait time estimates online, it's important to make sure you are looking at, is this an estimate for the entire process? Or is this just an estimate for the first step or the second step or the interview? Okay. So the spouse visa wait times, again, I like to break immigration down into digestible parts. And the very first step is a petition that you're going to file with USCIS located in the United States. And with that petition, an officer in the United States at one of the immigration offices is going to review that petition. Right now, the line for your case to get to the front of the line for an immigration officer to look at that petition, it is taking a solid 15 months to receive a decision. And it could be a little bit more or a little less, but on average, that's what we're seeing right now. So that's step one. And then in step two, that's the National Visa Center. There's an online application. There's a lot of documents that go into that step, like tax returns and things of that nature. The good thing, the good update in terms of wait times with the spouse visa process is that the National Visa Center has really caught up since the pandemic. During the pandemic and really post-pandemic up until last year, the National Visa Center was taking many, many months to even respond to email inquiries that we were sending them to let them know about issues with their system and things like that. They've really caught up, and they have been reviewing all documentation that's been submitted within a matter of a few weeks, which is great because you have to have the National Visa Center review your documents and approve your documents before you can be put in line for an interview. So that second step, you're looking at about a month is a good estimate for that. And then, so you're kind of at a 16-month estimate here. And then from there, step three is the interview. And that interview is going to happen at a U.S. embassy or consulate abroad, typically in the immigrant's country of citizenship and birth. Now, the interview wait time is really going to vary largely on your country where you will have your interview, the U.S. embassy or consulate where you will have your interview. So let me give you a few examples. For our clients in Lagos, Nigeria, and our clients that have interviews in Ciudad Juarez, Mexico, for example, you are looking at a solid year to have that interview. And then for our clients that we have interviews in London, at the London consular post, for example, we've had interviews scheduled as quickly as a month or two after the National Visa Center. So we have been preparing our clients that on average, you're looking at about 18 to 24 months to get through the spouse visa process. And that is the estimate here in 2025 of all three steps. And understand that those wait times for each step can change. They can go up and down. Like we saw the petition, the wait times went up. We saw the National Visa Center, the wait times to have your case reviewed went down. U.S. embassies and consulates, those wait times, again, they can be all over the board depending on the country where you will have your interview. So that's really what we're looking at in terms of spouse visa wait times for 2025. And again, please check out our free resource center at immigrationforcouples.com because I do have a lot of videos where I go into the spouse visa process in more detail if you're wanting to learn more about the spouse visa process. All right. And I do want to see if anybody has any comments or questions about the spouse visa wait times. Yeah, and this is a great comment here about the spouse visa process in the National Visa Center. NVC software still has glitches, slow process getting all documents loaded. Absolutely. The National Visa Center, the system they have is called CEAC, CEAC, and that is where applicants, you're going to upload tax returns, your civil documents, birth certificate, police background checks, and complete an application. And yes, the CEAC system, the National Visa Center, has historically had issues. And I remember I've been practicing immigration law for over a decade now. And I remember when the National Visa Center was still all paper. And I remember attending seminars with National Visa Center representatives who said they swore, we will not roll out our online system because it has too many glitches. We're going to do one country at a time. It's going to take a long time for us to roll out the system. And then all of a sudden, not even a year later, everything went electronic and they had not really worked out all the glitches and they still haven't. There's been periods of time where the CX system was just down and you couldn't upload anything. My husband and I went through that many, many years ago when we were going through the immigration process. There was 2 months where no one could upload anything. And I remember trying every day. And so unfortunately, the NVC still has glitches. We're always finding workarounds. We're always sending them screenshots and saying, hey, fix this. My clients, they are waiting. They are ready to go. But yes, that is my my rant and my frustration with the National Visa Center. It has gotten better, but it has a long way to go. So yes, thank you for that comment, indeed. Okay. And I'm just looking to see if anyone else has. Good morning. It's great to have you back with us, and you're in Canada. Just wanted to see if anyone else had any input on spouse visa wait times before I jump to my next wait time overview. Okay. Oh, yay. Here, this is a fun, exciting win here. So, good morning. Your green card has been approved, although I did not receive the card yet. When will I be able to travel outside of the US? I didn't file for the permit to travel. So, great question. I'm actually going to go ahead and answer that, and then I'm going to talk about wait times for the fiance visa. So, congratulations. We're all celebrating you. That's a wonderful news that your green card was approved. That's freedom, especially when you've been waiting for a long time. And so the when you're applying for adjustment of status and you're applying for a green card, there's an option to also apply for a work permit and a travel permit. Why? Because you're not able to work and you're not able to travel internationally until that green card application is approved. Some individuals opt to not apply for those. Some individuals opt to just do the work permit. It's really on a case by case basis. And the reason is that the work permit affords you the ability to work, and the travel permit would afford you the ability to travel internationally while your case is pending. Once an individual receives their green card, that green card is the authorization to work. That is your authorization to live in the United States and also to freely travel and leave the United States for international trips, just no trips more than 6 months. So congratulations. That's wonderful news. All right. And I just realized I had thrown a question in earlier before we started the live session. And I don't know if you all received it, but every week we're going to be asking a question so we can learn more about you, kind of like a speed dating, if you will, for us to just get to know our audience more and know where you're at in your journey and what's important to you. And just, again, just to get to know you better. So I don't know if you saw that in the comments. I'm actually going to throw that in there again. Our question for this week is we'd love to know from all of you, how did you and your significant other meet? That's one of my favorite questions to ask couples when we first start working together, is everybody has such a fun, unique love story. It's often a very serendipitous moment, where you like both go on vacation with family and like meet each other and then, or meeting online. There's just so many really unique ways that couples meet. And so I'm going to throw that comment or that, hopefully, come on, internet. There it goes. Hopefully you'll see it. It might only pop up for individuals that are on Facebook and YouTube. But if you see that question, if you want to click on the link, you can privately answer it. I know some of you are answering here in public, and if you feel comfortable doing that, go for it. But if you want to just privately share that with us, so that's just between us and us and you, you can click on that link and share that. Otherwise, that's fine to go ahead and put it in the comments. And Sue, I love it. You're like my helpful moderator. So Sue is always reminding everyone, if you're enjoying today, to give us a thumbs up, give us a heart. Let me know if this is helpful information for all of you. So thank you, Sue. I appreciate your being a moderator and assisting me with that. And you know what, Sue, in that same vein, I will throw. I had some individuals say, "Hey, I love your resources. I love joining you on live. How can I, give feedback or leave you a 5-star review?" And so I'm actually going to throw that in the comments too. Hopefully that'll come through. But if you love joining the lives, if you're enjoying the lives, if you're enjoying our free resource center, we would really appreciate you leaving us a 5-star review on Google if that feels in alignment for you. All right. And keep throwing your questions in there. I'll answer another one and then I'll do the fiance visa wait times. Okay, so you're wanting to know, okay, you basically had a 2-part question. If someone can't afford an immigration attorney, how can I locate a pro bono immigration attorney? And you're specifically in Texas. Google, great place to start. You can Google not-for-profit. Not-for-profit organizations are the way that you'd want to typically Google that. So not-for-profit organizations that offer legal services would be a good way to do research. I know that there are organizations like the Neighborhood Christian Legal Clinic, for example. Catholic Charities is a popular one that's all over the country. There's a lot. So just look up not-for-profit. nonprofit or not-for-profit immigration services. And that would be the best way to find someone if you are low income or you don't have the resources. And that way you can still get guidance from a licensed immigration attorney. Because please be careful. There are organizations out there that are engaging in what's called the unauthorized practice of law. So it's very important if you're getting assistance and services in a not-for-profit realm that you really are working with an organization that's a not-for-profit organization that has licensed attorneys, that you're not getting service from someone who is not authorized to practice law. And in not-for-profit organizations, they have individuals who have been they're not attorneys, but they have been licensed and they've received training to offer legal services in a not-for-profit organization. So just do your research, ask questions, look at the organization, and make sure you're not getting someone who's what they call like a notario or someone who is just wanting to take advantage, because sadly, there's so much of that out there. So that's what I would recommend Googling and do to your research. All right, I hope that helps. All righty. Oh, and I love seeing how everybody met. I want to pull these up. So you met on Twitter back when it was called Twitter. LOL, indeed. It's hard to not call it Twitter. Okay. And you met on a dating app. You were in Toronto. He was in New York. Our application is submitted for the K-1 visa. Yay. Congratulations. That's awesome. Oh, and I love it. I love Niagara Falls. So beautiful. That was your first date in 2022. Okay. And hello to you as well. And see, I just like read your minds. How long will it take to get the I-130 approval? I don't know. I think you just joined us, and I literally just went through the spouse visa wait times for 2025. This is recorded, so you can go back on the replay. But to quickly answer your question, for the petition, it's about 15 months. So that's why I wanted to go through wait times with everybody, because I know that those are the popular questions. All right, so everybody ready to move on to the fiance visa wait times? Are we ready to do that? And actually, let me make sure. I had someone, okay. Got it. And let's see. So 2025 K-1 fiance visa wait times. And again, I'm going to preface, because I know I have a lot of people who are just joining us live, just recently joined us, that wait times in immigration are fluid. They change all the time. They go up and down. It's like riding a roller coaster. So we are here in February of 2025, and I'm getting estimates, what we're seeing on the ground currently for the fiance visa process. And if you aren't joining us on the live, please do a hashtag replay. Let me know what your questions are. Please do follow us on Facebook and YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram, so you can join us on a future live event. So let's talk about 2025 K-1 fiance visa wait times. Just like I did with the spouse visa wait times, the fiance visa, I'm going to break it down, because the fiance visa, just like the spouse visa, has different steps in the process, and each step is really going to be reviewed by a different body of immigration or a different immigration office. And so the wait times are different. For the very first step, and I know I had some individuals on here who just told me that they just filed their fiance visa petition, so this is super relevant for you to understand what you're looking at. The very first step of the process is a petition, and that is the I-129F petition, and you're proving immigration you have a real relationship based on love. That petition is going to be reviewed by USCIS, United States Citizenship and Immigration Services here in the US. And those current wait times for immigration, for your case to get in front of an immigration officer to be reviewed, is sitting around 8 months. Again, that's an estimate, give or take. We've had some clients, especially in 2024, we had a lot of clients that were getting really quick decisions within a matter of a month or two. We saw the wait times go down and then up, and now we're sitting here again, February 2025, at about an 8-month wait for that petition. From there, the case will be forwarded to the National Visa Center. The National Visa Center is going to assign your case a number and then let the U.S. Embassy or consulate know, hey, this case has a number, this case is all packaged and ready to go. Let us know when we can send it to you. Unfortunately, what we have seen over the past few months is that the National Visa Center has fallen very behind on getting that case number assigned. and getting that case in the line. And we've seen it take over 60 days for most cases to receive that National Visa Center notice. So you're at 10 months now, right? 8 months for the petition, 2 months for that National Visa Center transfer. And again, estimates, right? And then from there, you are waiting on that US embassy or consulate to reach out to you and say either, hey, we've scheduled you for an interview, but most common in the fiance visas, they'll say, hey, we have your case. You can go ahead and take the next steps, medical exam, scheduling your interview, paying fees. And that is just like the spouse visa is really going to depend on the US embassy or consulate where you will have your interview. Some of them have a much faster turnaround time. I had given the London consular post as an example of a post that's much more efficient than others, much faster, and clients usually get that notification much faster than other countries. Then there are countries like Lagos that has a lot of technical issues with their online site, and you will spend weeks and sometimes months, oftentimes months actually, checking for an interview to become available. So that interview wait time can really vary. On average, I do tell fiance visa clients to be prepared for about an 18-month wait. On average, the fiance visa is still a faster option for couples than the spouse visa, but there are, benefits and setbacks to each option, which is outside the scope of this video. I have other videos talking about that and comparing them, but that's really what you're looking at for the fiance visa wait times. And now understand that once you get to the US, you're going to have to go through an adjustment of status process. And that's the last one I'm going to go over here today, is what we're seeing for adjustment of status wait times. Going to go back over to my comments here and see if we have anyone who has any comments about the fiance visa. Anyone, and if you want to share, if anybody wants to share their wait times, if you feel comfortable doing that, or your experience with wait times, that would be great. Others will benefit tremendously from that if you feel comfortable doing that. All right, and I do want to check on my folks on Instagram. I just wanted to see if anybody has any questions or comments. Those are the only ones that don't pull up on my same screen. Okay, so and yep, and somebody is asking, what are the adjustment of status wait times? So that's the next topic that I'll be going over, is that wait time. And you also have a question about, you said that your wife just came, your wife and stepson came on a fiance visa, so a K1 and a K2 recently to the US, and you're working on the adjustment of status process. So that's great. Congratulations. And in terms of you're asking basically that, how soon do you need to file the adjustment of status? Well, the fiance visa requires that you get married within 90 days of arrival on the fiance visa. So be sure that you are getting married in those 90 days. Otherwise, you're in violation of your fiance visa. And in terms of when do you need to file that adjustment of status, really, you should file it in the first 90 days as well. That's really what we do for all of our clients. We start proactively preparing that adjustment of status, having it ready to file so we can file it as quickly as possible after the wedding. And also so you can get in that wait line. Legally, could you file it after the 90 days? Yes, it's not a great idea. Definitely not recommended. Really, the goal is, when you're entering on that fiance visa, immigration puts a stamp in your passport. They give you 90 days, and they're really giving you those 90 days because legally you need to get married in the 90 days, and you really legally should be filing that adjustment application. Okay. All right. And that you got married in August already. So that's great. Well, congratulations. And then someone on Instagram is saying that their fiance visa wait time was about 16 months from filing the petition until they came to the US. So hopefully that'll be helpful for those of you who have mentioned that you're just starting on that fiance visa process to get an idea. Let's see. I just want to see what questions I have here in the queue, and I'll answer a few, and then we'll go over adjustment of status wait times. Okay. So I was just reading to make sure I was understanding what you were asking. So basically, I'm understanding that you are both married. You're both together outside of the US, including, obviously your US citizen spouse is outside of the US right now. And are you allowed to file the petition, or do you have to wait for the US citizen spouse to be in the United States? And this is a common question, and there's a lot of rumors out there about where the US citizen spouse has to be at the time of filing the I-130 petition. So the US citizen spouse doesn't necessarily have to be physically inside the US when you file that petition. You're filing it by mail or online, and you're filing it with USCIS office in the United States. Where the rumor and where the confusion comes into play is that part of the spouse visa process, and really part of the marriage green card process in general, is that one of the requirements is that the US citizen petitioner, the US citizen spouse, has to have domicile in the US. And so that's a fancy legal term that says the US citizen must be living in the US, the US must be their home. So we help a lot of couples where the US citizen has been residing abroad for years, and they met someone and fell in love and started a life in another country, but now they're ready to move back to the US. So there's still ways to prove that domicile requirement, but that's really where I think that confusion and question comes into play. All right. And then, and we have someone. So Martine, you're watching while driving in Georgia. It's great to have you with us. Thank you for being with us. All right. And then, yes, you want to know, if you were to hire immigration for couples, do we represent you at the immigration interview, and how does our firm help? So we like to say here at Immigration for Couples, we are in the driver's seat. My team and I, we are in charge of preparing your application. We go through all of your evidence with a fine-tooth comb and determine what should be included, what raises questions. We identify red flags. We're really looking at your case like an immigration officer and making sure we are assembling and submitting the strongest case possible. We monitor your case, respond to government requests, prepare you for immigration interviews. And yes, I represent clients all over the US. I have literally attended immigration interviews, adjustment of status interviews, naturalization interviews all over the US. I travel on a regular basis, and that's definitely a possibility for clients who are wanting that service. US embassies and consulates do not allow attorneys to enter. Bummer. I would totally be willing to go to US embassies and consulates and represent my clients, because you really do need that advocacy, but unfortunately they will not allow it. However, my team and I, we do a very thorough interview prep and a mock interview to make sure that you are prepared, that you know what to expect, and you are ready to go when that interview comes. All right. And then, and that was Maria letting us know about the approval. Okay, so Amanda, you were wanting to know if you sponsor your fiance visa and lose your job, how does that impact the case? If I have money in savings that shows we can live for several years without working, is it necessary for me to be employed for the fiance visa to be approved? So when you're going through a marriage green card process, fiance visas included, part of that process, you as the US citizen or lawful permanent resident spouse and spouse visa cases have to show that you have enough financial support that you can financially support the immigrant beneficiary if needed. So they will not become what is called a public charge. In other words, that they will not need government assistance. So you prove that, you show immigration that you are eligible, that you are able to provide that financial support through completing something called an affidavit of support. With the fiance visa process, you really have to do that twice. There's a shorter version of the affidavit of support at the fiance visa interview, and then a much longer version when the immigrant beneficiary arrives in the US as part of the green card application. Having a job, having employment, and then having tax returns that reflect that income is really the required evidence in general for you to prove that you have enough income. Is it possible, if you don't have a job, that you can use what is called your assets? So money in a financial account, equity in a home. That is definitely a possibility, and we've done that for a lot of our clients. Another thing you can consider is having a joint sponsor. So that can be any friend or family member who is a lawful permanent resident or citizen that can really step in and complete that affidavit of support and provide their financial information. So the short answer to your question is it's not a deal breaker if you don't have a job. There are other options, but in general, that's the path of least resistance. Okay, I hope that helps, Amanda. All right, we have Yeah, we have a lot of individuals. Okay, Eds, you're saying that you're running at 13 months now. I think you were in the adjustment of status process, right? Based on what you've shared with us previously. Yay! And you said you're finally able to join again. We're really happy to have you back. That's wonderful. Um, and do domicile requirements change while you're when renting? So domicile is where you are physically residing without regard to intention. That's what the law says. So if you're renting or if you own, there's a lot of different ways to prove domicile. Having a driver's license, filing taxes, etc. in the U.S. So it doesn't necessarily change. Yay, Phil and Anna, great to see you. Greetings from Thailand. And you're at 13 months. Yep. Thank you for sharing that with everyone. And then, okay. Oh, yep. And thank you, Sue, for saying that. At Sue, you were asking about sending, if you can change and send changes like passport to USCIS by mail or upload them to the count. And yeah, you don't want to send originals to immigration. You send certified copies. That's right. All right. Oh, good morning, Lisa. A stress test morning for you. I hope the day gets better and I hope you're doing well. All right, great to have you. All right, I'm going to jump over now to adjustment of status wait times because I have individuals who are asking about adjustment of status wait times. Okay. 2025 adjustment of status marriage green card wait times. And this is the last time I'll say it because I know all of you who are watching live have heard me repeat this, but for those of you who are watching this on the replay, for your benefit, please understand that these are the wait times for the marriage adjustment of status as of February 2025. Wait times are fluid. Immigration wait times can go up and go down, but this is kind of what we're seeing on the ground right now for marriage green cards. And if you are watching this on the replay, I invite you to come and join us on our weekly live chats at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. I stream this live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. So follow us on social media and you can ask me your questions live. So the marriage green card. First of all, what is the marriage adjustment of status process? So the marriage adjustment of status process is a process that's completed entirely in the US. And unlike the fiance and spouse visa, where steps are really broken out into the petition and then the National Visa Center phase with financial documents, the marriage adjustment of status process really combines everything into one big application that's filed stateside in the United States. And that all goes to an immigration office. So the adjustment of status application typically is going to include your petition. Unless you have a fiance visa case, you've already had a petition approved, then you wouldn't have one typically. In some cases you might, but in general, there'll be a petition. You will also have your green card application. That's the biggest part of it. It's called adjustment of status because you're going from whatever status you have, be it a tourist visa or no status or a fiance visa, you're going from that status to having a green card. So that green card adjustment of status application will be in there. And then there's an optional work permit and a travel permit that you can apply for because when you're going through adjustment of status, you have to stay put and you can't work unless you have work authorization already. So this wait time, I'm really focusing on that green card application piece. That's the goal for everyone, is to get to that green card, get to that lawful permanent resident status. Once you have filed that big application with all those different parts, including the affidavit of support, then you will be put in a queue. You'll be put in a line. And then it's taking right now, on average, about 12 months. So about a year for your case to get in front of an immigration officer to make a decision on your adjustment of status application. We've had individuals who have gotten a decision, who've received a decision in as little as 5 months. And we've had others that have had to wait up to 18 months. I've had some individuals even come to me who've been waiting 2 years, and we've had to file something called a mandamus action to sue the government for unreasonable delay. Why do I say all of these numbers and wait times? Just so you understand that wait times really just vary so much depending on many factors. Specifically with the adjustment of status, your adjustment of status application is typically going to be decided in your jurisdiction. In other words, the immigration office in your state. Not always, but typically that's what will happen. And so that's one of the factors that can influence the wait time, your overall wait time. But on average, on average, we tell clients to be prepared for about a year wait to receive that green card. Work permits and travel permits, we were seeing last year that they were getting down to as little as a 2-month wait time to receive those. And now we're really starting to see those wait times tick back up to about 6 to 8 months to get decisions on those. But again, wait times are fluid. That's what we're seeing here in February of 2025. And if you'd like to learn more about the adjustment of status process, I invite all of you to the free resource center at immigrationforcouples.com. All right, let's see. Does anyone have any comments about adjustment of status wait times or any questions about adjustment of status wait times? Yep. And so Chantel, that's exactly right. That's the goal of when you file for your adjustment of status. If you want to be able to work and travel during that process, then you would really want to consider those optional work and travel permits. All right, I'm going to go back up here and start going through the questions that I have queued up from individuals. So the next one I have is about the COVID vaccine. So yes, last week I let everyone know the COVID vaccine is no longer a required vaccine for individuals to be able to receive their green card. So you have to receive vaccines as part of your green card process because you do have to complete a medical exam. This requirement for the COVID vaccine being removed is applicable to anyone who's going through the green card process. This would include individuals who are doing the spouse and fiance visa process, to answer your question. All right. Oh, yep. And Maria, I answered yours. I just want to make sure. This is a good question. So you're lucky one, you are asking, how many pages should the I-751 removal of conditions application be? Is 762 pages long? Too long? There's not a set amount of pages. Immigration doesn't have a requirement that your application need to be between 300 and 500 pages. There's no requirement like that. I say over and over that it's about the quality of your evidence over the quantity of evidence. We have sent removal of conditions applications that are quite large because when you're going through the removal of conditions process, and so for those of you who aren't familiar with what this is, anyone who has a 2-year conditional green card has to then later file removal of conditions to have that condition removed to be able to receive a 10-year permanent green card. So this is applicable in marriage-based cases. Part of that process is you're needing to show your relationship from marriage to that green card expiration date at the 2-year mark. And so it's very important that you have evidence, that you can show evidence for every single month. And we're talking about not just lovey-dovey evidence like photos and trips taken together, but they are going to be looking to see joint financial evidence. So they can be quite large. There's not a set page limit, though, that you should reach or that you should be under for the removal of conditions case. Do know that immigration has a long list of red flags, indicators of fraud. And one of those is actually an oversubmission, submitting too much or submitting not enough. So there's like this Goldilocks standard, and it's really going to depend on your particular case. But I just wanted to throw that out there as well. And please do check out the free resource center, immigrationforcouples.com, and check out the relationship evidence guide. I go into a lot of detail in that free resource. Okay. Yeah, so you're wanting to know if we will see, or do I anticipate or predict seeing changes in wait times under the new Trump administration? So yes, I do. I am an optimistic person, and I'm also a realistic person. And I also know that I've been practicing immigration law for a long time and know that immigration is unfortunately a political beast. And as we see changes in administration, politics, all of that can impact wait times. And we had COVID, and the immigration system is still recovering. And before COVID, immigration had a lot of funding issues and staffing issues, and right? There's a lot of brokenness in the immigration system. Why do I anticipate seeing changes in wait times? And this comes from the American Immigration Lawyers Association as well. Lots of research has been done. And also we've advocated and represented clients during a prior Trump administration and know what changes were presented, the impact that we saw. And we anticipate to see some of those changes again. To give you an example of some of the changes we saw is that currently for adjustment of status, so that's that process I was talking about earlier that happens completely in the US. And this includes individuals who come on a fiance visa and then adjust their status to a green card. That process in general, as long as you have a strong application, if you submit all of the right evidence, depending on your immigration history, it is possible for that interview to be waived. Under the Trump administration, one of the big policy changes we saw is that the Trump administration said everybody has to have an interview. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they've been interviewed at the US Embassy or consulate abroad for a fiance visa already. It doesn't matter if they have children together. It doesn't matter if they have strong relationship evidence. It doesn't matter if they have a clean immigration history. Everybody gets interviewed. So we saw a huge halt in cases being decided for adjustment of status because everybody had to be interviewed. That takes officer time and scheduling. And so it was taking a very long time to get through the adjustment of status process. There are a lot of other similar changes that impacted wait times, and we did see longer wait times. There have not been any announcements about interviews or anything like that. We do anticipate to see changes, but not only am I an optimistic person and hope to see those wait times go down, I'm not just going to sit around and twiddle my thumbs, right? I'm always advocating. My team and I are always talking to U.S. Congressional representatives and senators across the U.S., helping them to understand the impact it's having on our clients. And I'm a member of the American Immigration Lawyers Association. We have a national day of action in D.C. We're constantly pushing immigration, pestering immigration, holding them accountable to make changes. So we will continue fighting the good fight. Wanted to leave you with a note of optimism as well. And in terms of Czech Republic wait times, I would say on average about 6 months. It's one of the countries that we don't see a huge backlog or long delays. So in general, I would say that's a safe estimate. All right, I'm over time, but I'm gonna do a few more questions until I do need to go. But I wanted to try to get through as many as I possibly could. So if you're a green card holder, a lawful permanent resident, and you applied for an I-130 petition, if you were to apply for citizenship, kind of help speed up the process. So when you are a green card holder, yes, you can petition for your spouse. You're going to be in a category called non-immediate relatives, which means your case has to be put in line and it's subject to annual visa allotment. So there's a certain amount of visas that are given every year. And until one is available, only then can that I-130 petition be decided. So wait times are much longer for residents petitioning their spouses. If you were a US citizen, yes, the wait time is going to be shorter. It's still, as I said earlier, sitting at about 15 months. So shorter, but not short. And if you're a US citizen, you are what they call immediate relatives. So you still have to wait in line for the case to be reviewed, but you're not going to have to wait in line also for the visa. So yes, that would make it, in general, that makes it faster. Okay. So you said, and hi to you as well. So you said your wife, your wife is in the United States and you applied for a spouse visa in October of 2024. Can my wife change her surname to mine, or will that mess up the file? So in the United States, anyone who has a marriage certificate, anyone who is legally married can actually go to the Social Security office as a citizen or a resident. Anyone with status who has that marriage certificate and has a Social Security number can go to the Social Security office and begin that name change process. And that's not going to negatively impact your case. For an individual who's an immigrant who's going through the spouse visa process, you can actually change your last name if you'd want to take your spouse's name after marriage by doing that on the application, by selecting that rather on the application, or listing that name as your last name after marriage. Okay, so Emmanuel, I'm not sure if let's see. So you are going through the spouse visa process and your stepchild. Okay, so it sounds like there's 2 petitions, one for you and one for your child. And you're asking if you both have to go to the interview. It's really going to depend on the US Embassy or consulate. I will say some embassies and consulates, you have to both go. Others, depending on the age of the child, sometimes they will not require the child to go. In general, they do, but you need to check with that US embassy or consulate where you'll have your interview for embassy specific guidelines for individuals who have interviews. All right. So you just got your fiance visa from the USCIS. So you got your petition approved. Congratulations. That's great. Kevin, I don't know if you were here when I went through the fiance visa process wait times for 2025. I'm so glad I did because I've literally had at least 5 questions about wait times. And so I'm glad I made that video. But in case you weren't here, I did mention that it is taking a solid 2 months for that transfer. And if you weren't here, go back and watch the replay so you can understand the estimates for the entire process. Oh, Jose, you're still waiting. I know you've been waiting for a while, and it does say 3 months online. That's good. So hang in there. You're one day closer every day. I know I gave those wait times for the spouse visa process, so hopefully you get a decision soon. I know there were others who were in the same boat as you that had told us on last live that they were approved, so hopefully you'll get one soon. Yeah, and so in regards to the embassy closure, there are still interviews being scheduled. There's really a lot of rumors going on around interview cancellations in Colombia, and there has not been any official announcement from the Department of State that that post is actually closed. So just remember, there's a lot of fear mongering in the media, and I know there's a lot going on in the world of politics and immigration, but we still do have clients who are going through the process who've recently been, approved. So hopefully you get that decision on your petition soon, and then you'll go through that National Visa Center process. So good luck to you. Yeah, so if your removal conditions process takes longer than the extension, you can actually reach out to USCIS, to their service line, and ask for another extension if needed, and they can actually schedule you for an appointment to put a stamp in your passport. So all right, to see who's next. So hello to you as well. You applied for a spouse visa. Oh, and that was the same question. So yes, if for anybody who's asking questions, I'm doing my best to get to as many as I can here today. I'm going to try to do like 1 or 2 more, but please only ask it once because I have 4 different platforms and tons of questions coming in, and I'm doing them in the order I receive them. And I'm trying to answer, some individuals have more than 1 question. I'm trying to answer 1 from every person out of fairness. But I have these every week, so please come back, and I do read the questions afterwards and make videos based on the questions you ask. Okay. So you have 2 daughters, 15 and years old and 9 years old. What is the process? So the process is really going to depend. Are they your biological children? Are they your stepchildren? Are you a U.S. citizen? Are you a lawful permanent resident? Are you living abroad? Are you living in the U.S.? The year that they were born, how long you've been in the U.S. So there are a whole bunch of different processes based on all of those different facts. I'd be happy to meet with you in private in a consultation. This goes for everyone. You can book a consultation on our website, immigrationforcouples.com, or by calling the phone number below. You can book this appointment. It will be with me. You can select to have a Zoom appointment, and we will talk just like here, but in private about your case, or you can select a phone appointment. So so we can talk about that, and I can get all those facts and let you know what the process is. Sometimes you'll go through a petition process. Sometimes there's a way, if you're a U.S. citizen, to claim their U.S. citizenship abroad. Yay. Okay, this is a good one. So your IR1, your spouse visa hit documentarily qualified since December of 2023, and you're still yet to get your interview date. And I said this was a good question because this was on theme with our topic here today for wait times, not that you've been waiting so long. So documentarily qualified, that's great. It's really going to depend on, so this is an example for everyone that it really depends on where your U.S. embassy or consular interview will occur as to wait times. There are some countries, Nairobi, Kenya, for example, our clients are waiting a solid 18, 19 months to get an interview. It's insane. So hopefully you are getting your interview soon. You're past that 12-month mark. So best of luck to you, and thank you for sharing that wait time. Okay. So you're asking about submitting a petition and then and also later filing a waiver, and if you should just lay low for now. I'm really glad that you're asking this question. You are not alone. I've been asked this question a lot with the new administration. There's a lot of fear around, especially for individuals who are currently without status. Is it safe? Is it safe for me to file? Should I just wait? Like you're saying, should I just lay low? I'm really nervous. When you're going through the process, you're going to be filing this petition, this application, and really giving immigration all of your information, right? So I completely understand where your question, why you're asking this question. And my advice to individuals is taking action, filing that case, and being one day closer to your green card is the best thing you can do to protect your future. I know it is. I know it's definitely scary to get the process started, but the reality is if you don't currently have documents, if you don't currently have status, taking that first step, filing that petition, because if you were to have contact with immigration and you don't have anything filed, that's a much worse position to be in than if you've already started a process, if you've already started the petition, or if you've already filed the waiver, you're already in process. That puts you in a much better position if you then have contact with immigration and they want to begin any kind of deportation proceedings. I'd be really happy to talk with you in private. Again, just as I had mentioned to other individuals here today, please go to the website immigrationforcouples.com. And also there's the phone number below too. You can schedule an appointment with me. We can talk about your case and your immigration history, and we can help you get started. Okay? Getting started, taking that first step sometimes is really scary, but that is the step you need to take to changing your life. So I really recommend taking action, protecting yourself, getting something started, not waiting, because that is one of the number one things that individuals will tell me is I wish I would have started sooner, especially the provisional waiver process. All right. And then you received an I-601A approval almost a month ago. Congratulations. That's a long wait. So congratulations. Um, and your interview is supposed to be in Rio. What is the processing time? So once your waiver is approved, you still have to go through that National Visa Center process and then be scheduled for an interview. So if you have an immigration attorney, he or she should be walking you through that. If you're needing help, our firm can help you to get through that finish line. But definitely talk with your immigration attorney. You'll go through that National Visa Center process. And then once that's done and you're documentarily qualified, then you will be scheduled for an interview. We have a lot of clients that consular process through Rio. The wait times on average are around 6 months, give or take. We've had them come in sooner than that, but that's really what you're looking at. So, but congratulations on that waiver being approved. That's awesome. And so I have someone telling me that you're a Nigerian, your wife is a U.S. citizen. All right. I do need to jet. I was just kind of taking a quick look here at everyone else's questions, and I'll go through these. So yeah, I did answer. Yeah, I did answer your question. Okay. All right. Just wanted to double check that. Okay, I've done as many as I can. Oh, and then as you said, good morning too. I have seen that. And you're wanting to know wait times for a spouse visa interview in Ghana. They're a long wait. You're looking at well over a year is what we're seeing for our clients. All right. Some others in sharing wait time. You started your fiance visa March last year, and your fiance came here in January. Congratulations. That's awesome. I don't see your. So you said I skipped your question, but I don't see your question. I've looked and looked, but I don't see it. There's just so many. Okay, here we go. You came with a fiance visa, you got married and waiting to be approved. The case, but I want to go back to a country and live there. What option do I have? Okay. That's a really interesting question because when you go through the fiance visa process, the point of that process and what you have to show to immigration or prove to immigration is that you're wanting to live in the US. So if you come here on your fiance visa, you get married, and then you file your adjustment of status, that's really putting you in a process for you to be able to live here permanently. If you're wanting to leave the US and no longer essentially abandon that adjustment of status application, you really need to speak with an immigration attorney about the consequences of doing so. If you already have an immigration attorney, please speak with them about the consequences of withdrawing your adjustment application, because your file now shows that you're going through a process to receive a green card and live in the US. But then if you want to leave, it'll be next to impossible to later receive a tourist visa. So this is a really complex question that I can't answer here without understanding more about your immigration history, your goals, why you're wanting to depart. So if you have an immigration attorney, please speak with them in private, understand risks, benefits, and what are your best next steps. If you don't have an immigration attorney, we can definitely speak during a consultation. You can book that with me at the website immigrationforcouples.com. All right, I think I did as many as I possibly can. I did an hour here today because we've just had so many. Okay, I'm glad that was helpful for you, that I answered your question. Perfect. All right, these are really great questions. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. I'm glad that you like the free resources too. All right, everybody. I do need to jet. I will see all of you next week, Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Please bring your questions. Yeah, and I'm really glad that I know work gets busy, and I'm glad you were able to join us here live today. You're very welcome. Everybody take care of yourselves, take care of each other. I know it's stressful going through an immigration process, but self-care is so important. Go on walks, meditate, do whatever, fills your cup, but do take care of yourselves. And I'll see you all next week. You're very welcome. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a great week. Bye.